All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Computer Applications. Lesson 11 here, as we take a look at vertically centering text, is a little bit of a challenge. I'm going to show you how it is that we kind of have to hack together something using Google here, and I'll let you know the modifications we need to make to this assignment in order for it to work correctly. When we take a look at this, the assignment for today is going to be taking uh, some new skills that we haven't looked at before. So the first thing you're going to want to do is actually make your page landscape. The way you do that, you go to the File menu, Page Setup. Now, the difference between portrait and landscape is that portrait keeps the page at 8.5 by 11. Landscape actually flips that to be 11 by 8.5. Now, if you've looked through the assignment, you'll notice that towards the end of it, you're going to be setting margins and you're going to be adding a page border. In order to do that, and in order to center text vertically on the page, what Google has done is they force you to leverage some features of the table that we've been looking at throughout this unit in order to make this happen. But in order for that to happen, we have to make some modifications to the margins. Now, in the assignment, it says set your margins, your top right and left margins to 3 inches, your bottom margin to 1 inch. But I'm going to override that because of how Google Docs works. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to set all of our margins to 0.5 as we go down the page. So all 4 of your margins are going to be 0.5, and you're going to see what happens here in a second when I click OK. When you do that, you'll notice that now your margins are 1/2 inch from both the top and the left side here. You can see my cursor blinking away. It is the same all the way around the page. So we have a 1/2 inch uh, of space that we're not going to be printing in. Just as a point of note, especially for all of the printers that I have here at Lutheran High, your margins have to be at a minimum 0.25. Anything that is smaller than 0.25, my printers can't print. So as long as you have your margins at 0.25 or bigger, you'll be fine on other projects. But for this project, we're going to be using 0.5 as our baseline. So what we're going to do then is we're going to insert a table. We're just going to insert a single-celled table, and you'll notice, right, we now have that in the document. Now, how do we get this to set it up so that we have a page border and our text centered horizontally and vertically? Well, horizontally, you already know, right? You're just going to click the center alignment button. And vertical alignment, you already know as well. What you're going to do is right-click, and you're going to go into Table Properties, just like we've been doing in the past. We're going to be setting our column width and our row height. Now, you'll remember I told you that the size of this page is 11 inches from left to right because we've now flipped it so that it's landscaped. But we also put in a 1/2 inch margin. That means that the maximum column width that we can have here is 10 inches because we have a 1/2 inch on one side, a 1/2 inch on another. That makes for a single inch, right? And we're going to want it to fill the page, so a 10-inch column width will fill that nicely. When it comes to the row height, though, again, Google's kind of thrown us a curveball and it's a little bit tricky. Remember, I told you that it's 8.5 inches from top to bottom on this page because it's landscaped, but we have, again, a 1/2 inch margin. Now, you're thinking, well, that means that it should be 7.5 inches, right? But what that doesn't account for is Google actually forces us to have a first line carriage return up here. So in reality, what you're going to want to go with is a 7-inch row height. That will cause this to fill the page. It doesn't look perfectly symmetrical because of that first line, um, but it will work for us, and it looks close enough. Now, I forgot to click on something in there. Remember, we want to center all of this horizontally and vertically. So we need to go here, vertical cell alignment, middle, and click OK. Now you'll notice our cursor is perfectly centered horizontally and vertically. Now we can type out our text. In addition, by default, notice you kind of have a page border. And I want you to change the border around here to be something different than a little thin black line. Remember, you can select all of the lines by selecting that little white box up here. Clicking this box here will select all of the outside perimeter lines, allowing you to then make changes and modifications to it. And you can set it up to be, however it is that you feel is appropriate for this project. Again, you're going to be using a lot of the same things that we've been looking at with fonts, sizes, and the bold, italics, underline options. But this should get you started for this project. So one quick change to the assignment. Remember, you're going to be setting your margins to 0.5 on all four sides, and you should be able to complete it without any more trouble. So that's all I have for you today. You're going to want to go ahead and get started with that.